Well, hello everybody. I'm Michael Getz, and for my monologue, I decided to write a spoken word, and it's called Worth It. In the beginning, I lost my family to drugs, bullied at school, I was lacking all love. I wanted to fit in, so I joined the wrong group. Turns out they were the introduction to my escape from the truth. Suicide attempts became so frequent it felt routine. Why did my family try so hard to leave me? Am I even loved? Do I have a purpose? Am I worth it? Aunt Kristen never left. For some reason, she stayed with me faithfully. God has a plan, she would say, with absolute certainty. So I traveled down the country, trying to forget about the pain. But rejection, fear, abandonment followed me every single day. So I tried to take control, finding different ways to cope. But that just led to a broken nose, a broken heart, and broken hope. Where are you, God? Why won't you answer? It was that night, Michael. You gave me your life. Soon you will see that your aunt, she was right. Slowly but surely you laid down your masks. Education is cool, but it's not what I've asked. You can't do this alone, but I get why you tried. This year has been prophesied as release from the lies. It will not be easy. Oh, it will be tough. But if you give me this year, I will prove you're enough. Afraid of getting close to people. Sarcasm was your native tongue. You didn't want to be hurt again, so you closed off intimacy and acted tough. But I heard your hidden cry and asked you to open up. See, being vulnerable is strong, and real men do cry. And now that you're more like yourself again, it's time to deal with that next lie. Abandonment. The belief that when you were of no use to those who loved you, they would leave. A crippling fear that could never be pleased. I know it was painful, but I made you dependent to show you exactly just what a friend is. Having to ask for everything, I saw you felt needy. But they were more than willing to serve, even with feeding. With your vulnerability restored and truly knowing these men are for you, it's time to lay down one more issue that has constantly plagued you. So say goodbye to performance and approval of men. I created your life from beginning to end. So I want your commitment. I know your true purpose. You're a child of God, called to bring home my hurt kids. See, your pain wasn't pointless, nor did you suffer for evil. It was to make you relatable so you can go reach my people. You were faithful to me and you answered the call. I removed your bad roots, now it's time to play ball. You're a man on a mission, created with purpose. Son, will you lay down your life and show them they're worth it? It was by a few faithful people I restored your identity, and by doing the same, you'll be walking in destiny. See, in your community is a boy just like you, fighting to get by, not sure what to do. The fire I placed in your heart is all that you need. Go and walk with him, Mike. Show him you see. No, of course you're not perfect. There's more work to do. but the man you become is ready and approved. The secret? That man was always in you. So as we're walking through life and more pain starts to arise, give it to me day by day. I promise I'll heal the lies. So don't get upset or think that you're bad. Michael, you're my son in whom I'm well pleased. Sincerely, your dad. In just 1 year, God took the broken man that I was and has made such significant progress in my life that I almost don't even recognize myself. He did this by healing lies and belief systems that I had built up, that I've been operating out of, mainly rejection, abandonment, and a performance mentality. But the real question is, how did he do this? He did this by leading me into risk and uncertainty. Because it was there where he could meet me where I was vulnerable, where I had no control over my outcomes, that I couldn't change a thing, and I had to be dependent on him. I needed him to show up. In accountability, he asked me to lay out all my junk to my roommate, knowing full well that I had a fear that he was going to reject me and walk on out. He was going to use my pain against me, and that I was going to be hurt. To my surprise, though, when I laid it all out, I was met with love. I was met with love. See, my value was rooted in what others said about me. And I believed if a time came where I could no longer serve them, they would stop loving me and they would leave. God exposed this lie by placing me in a situation where I could not serve at all. And I had to observe men in my life still come around me and love me, even though I couldn't do a thing for them. See, God broke my performance mentality and my striving for the approval of men by helping me walk out 1 Corinthians 4:7, which says, "For who sees anything different in you? What do you have that you did not receive? If you did not receive it, why do you boast?" What was that? "If then you received it, why do you boast as if you did not receive it?" This became so real to me in one of our book reviews we did, and this was the first book review that I was supposed to lead. And it was on a book, Biblical Healing and Deliverance, super textbooky, and I was coming in ready to teach. Everyone was going to be so well off that I was going to put this together. The problem is, I said it was a book review, right? Not a lecture. But the outline I put together was a lecture. So since I didn't depend on God, needless to say, I crashed and burned within 3 minutes of starting, and I had to drag myself through 2 hours of pain. I was still loved, and I was still encouraged. And it taught me the valuable lesson of depending on my Father to give me what I need when I need it. Right. So the biggest thing that taught me the next time I had book review, I wrote down almost nothing. I wrote down just bullet points. And I asked God, I said, you lead, you ask the questions. And that book review was filled with incredible dialogue and amazing questions that I had no idea about. He brought them up in that time. And I learned that when I was dependent on him, he was successful through me. However, if I had to choose what I was most grateful for that the Lord did to me this year, it would be the relationship that he gave me with my spiritual father, Rick Merrill. All right. So, before 516, I lived with the Merrills for 2 years. So they got to walk with me. They saw all my junk. They saw me at my worst. They saw me trying to hide. But they just loved me through it all. And most importantly, no matter what stupid things I managed to do, Rick never gave up on me. This year, we had an opportunity to meet every week for breakfast. And we would play tennis, and I had the privilege of walking through Scripture and practicing it in the physical reality and in a spiritual reality as well, and seeing how it applies in both. Rick has proven to me that he loves me unconditionally, and I truly believe that he would lay his life down for me. Through Rick, God has shown me what agape love looks like, unconditional love that does not change no matter what another person does. He restored the meaning of family to me. And he's taught me the core values on what it means to be a man. In extremely tough times, Rick taught me to ask myself 2 questions. If this doesn't get any better, if the situation I'm in stays as bad as it is he good enough? And will I trust him? Is God good enough? If my situation never gets better, is he enough? And will I trust him? And when I started answering those questions, I could see that I could lean on God no matter how hard it got. There was 2 particular situations this year that helped me answer that question. The first was during something called Challenge Week. And during Challenge Week, each 516 intern is assigned a challenge that's aimed to address an area of life that the Lord wants to draw attention to. And my challenge was to live with no arms. So I was Robert's roommate. This meant that for the majority of things I needed, I had to ask Robert to do them for me. Opening doors, pulling out chairs, getting me water, and even feeding me. The first 5 days were all right, but by day 8, I broke. All I could hear in my head is that I was an annoyance to Robert, that I constantly had to beg him for things that I couldn't do anything in return. I was confident that he didn't like me. And I was sure when this challenge was over, Robert was going to avoid all interaction with me. This was the lie that fed my fear of rejection and abandonment. God revealed to me in that moment that I believed I was only worth something to people I could do things for. On day 9, the challenge was over. Although I just became determined to now go 2 weeks, the challenge week reiterated the need for me to cry out to God to understand what it means to be dependent on him, because I now clearly see how I've tried to control every situation and do things on my own. The next event took place during an exercise teaching how to demonstrate healthy confrontation with 516 interns. This was the following week after my challenge week, so I was already in a tender state and relatively emotional. Here, someone who I loved deeply expressed a few statements that cut me to the core. Now, I later came to realize that they weren't from God, and I didn't have to take them to heart, but it still made me reflect on my character and identity. I was honestly upset after what was said and angry at the person who said it. But that weekend I went to dinner with Rick, and without me going into great detail, he started telling me how the man I was just a few years ago to the man I am today is unrecognizable. He told me how proud of me he was, that he loved me, and he did this when God knew that I needed it most. God used Rick at the perfect opportunity. He used Rick to breathe life into me. I was still raw and hurting. I was hurting a lot. But it was here that Rick asked me that question: if nothing changed, would God be enough? Today I can say that he is enough, and I will trust him, because he has proven time and time again that when things get unbearably tough, he is faithful to hear my call and rescue me when he deems it right. By no means does that mean tough situations are easier, but I can relax knowing my God is with me. I can now praise him during trials, knowing it is in the unknown, risky valleys where I'm fed. And when I come out, I will be stronger and more dependent for it. Although scary, uncertain, and definitely risky, I answered God's call and laid down my life. Now I stand in the freedom, knowing my dad is in control, willing to lead me every step of the way. All I have to do is trust him and know that he is faithful. I will be forever grateful for 516 because it has given me the time and the space to intimately pursue the Lord. And it was in this pursuit that he has told me that I am his child, and there is absolutely nothing I can do that will make him love me any more or any less than he does right now. He has restored my identity as a blood-bought saint and has encouraged me to only walk with my eyes on him, knowing people will hurt me and they may leave, but he never will. My God is faithful, and in 10 months, he has begun to permanently remove lies. He has given me a home here at Bow Down and a family where I know that I am loved. This year is one I will never forget, but it's the adventure he has me on now that I most look forward to. Thank you.